be controlling us in this system. The people who have children will be allowed to live closer to the train and bus lines, the good stores, the parks, lakes, and recreational spaces. Why? Because they will prioritize this concept of the new generation. Remember that these children are children that are being born now, but even more so the children that will come after Generation Alpha, which is your little ones now, that automatically you give them a tablet, they know how to book a restaurant, call the cops, and report a crime. These little children are amazing with cell phones, with tablets, with that thing that you put on your eyes and then you enter the visual world, whatever it is. The Oculus, I think it is, but there's another thing. Apple has one that you put on and then you see something else. So they who are familiar with technology, and even more upmarket brand of children is coming, the new generation. Remember, these are the genetically moderated children. These are the perfect children. These are the read your mind children. These are the absolutely no concept of the love for God, because they will probably CRISPR, genetically cut the parts that can love God and listen to scriptures out of these children. They will be messing with these children in vitro. Please watch the female, aware of that. So he says they will prioritize this concept of the new generation. And this is not to say that children are safe from being wiped out. That is not so. Don't be a child born with asthma. Don't be a child born with a leg that is off. Worse still, do not be an infant who, when they draw that placenta water, it says, oh, 2.2% chance of Down syndrome. Don't be that baby, because they will be highly pushing terminations in the womb because they are looking for only the Dolph Lundgren type of baby to be born. It will be basically competition for life before life even comes out, before the child even comes out as whole. They will be competing who is going to live in the womb. It's going to be stiff competition the way they will be after these children. This is the curse, the same curse that they put on Moses and his generation, Jesus and his generation. Moses was the only baby of his age growing up. They killed everybody else. Same with Jesus. Older kids, younger kids, but by himself it was just them. He was looking through her birth history, who her mother was, who her father was. Mother's diseases, father's diseases. Mother's convictions, father's convictions. Mother's background, father's background. History, medical history, emotional history, educational history. Everything related to those two young people was on the table in front of that official. He was looking at them and doing a computation in his mind. Imagine a human being given the power by the state to decide if you and the one you love fit. They were going to have to submit to genetic testing, blood testing, everything to see that they were not carrying any bloodline diseases that could what? Do you think it was so that they could be saddled with a baby that was maybe sick? A baby that would come into the world carrying an inherited disease? No. The state could not afford to be saddled with a less than perfect citizen. So, this is not because they will not kill children. On the contrary, they will not hesitate to wipe them out if they do not conform to medical guidelines and come out looking perfect or next to perfect. However, the housing priority guidelines will be different from the procreation guidelines. Children can be used as a means to access better housing, and single people will be put further and further out in terms of from the hub. If the hub has and further out in terms of from the hub, if the hub has the cinemas, if the hub has the donut shops, if the hub, the 12-minute city, if it has all the good things at the center, then you can expect concentric rings with people who have the biggest families closest, because they will say, oh, the little one can't walk that far. And then the smaller your family, you're out there until the single people form the very outer hub, because apparently you are young and strong and you can simply get a green bike and ride 18 miles until you get to where the donuts are, that kind of thing. So, having a baby. Who can win the baby lotto? Will you be granted a baby lotto card so that you can have a baby this year? Have you aged out of ever qualifying for a lotto? Do you have the bright birth line? Are you a Hilton? Are you a Marriott? Are you a Rockefeller? Are you a Gates? That kind of thing. So they will put single people further away. Apartment is just some wall space where you live. Your apartment, your homestead, is basically your barrier fence. Your courtyard is where your apartment building is. You stay within the fenced-in walls of where the apartment stands. You will be limited to where your building is, your house is, your state, and your front lawn. Now, how can you be limited in these things unless the soldiers that I told you about will be doing patrols? Unless the government is now, the police are now doubly empowered to keep you where you are. All you have to do is watch that dream called A Dream of a Militarized America. But I've been talking about this thing for many years, but that's one of the more recent ones I can think of. The dream of a militarized America, and also the two prophecies that were just put up recently.